All right, somebody can tell me if you see me or my dogs. That would be great because I have two dogs outside. Brito, I'm going to put you away. Brito goes in this house. Come here. Brito, in your house. Good boy, in your house. Is it working? Who do you see? Can somebody tell me if you see me or my dogs? I'm not convinced that the camera is facing the right way. Be able to see a working space. Hold on, let me make sure about that. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, thank you, Josie. So what we're gonna do today, let's talk about pocket hand. I said in the write-up that it's for heel position, but actually you can use it for a lot of things, so we can talk about that. Pocket hand is what I call the hand position, where I have well, it doesn't matter. My hand is by my side, and there's a space right here. That's the pocket, right? So when I say pocket hand, I'm talking about using this space right here to teach a dog to look up, right into that space. And no matter where I go, I want the dog's head up and looking into that space. And if you look at it, you can see that your dog can learn how to do all angles that way. You can also do it on this side, right? Doesn't matter. You can also, if you want to, do it in front position and teach the dog. I can show you if you want how to get straight fronts from having the dog come in here, right? When I teach this online in a class, first I teach the dogs to pivot on a disc, and then I add the pocket hand because it makes it easier. But I want to show you today that actually the disc isn't even required. You can do it without it. Your hand is the pivot point, right? So if I move and my hand stays still and the dog is taught to stay underneath and look up, then that becomes my pivot point. If I pulled it out, the dog's front end will go wide, and wherever I turn my hand, the dog's head is going to stay against here. So let me show you with Brito what it looks like for a beginner dog when you lure it, because I teach it as a lure. That means I have a cookie under my thumb is probably how I'm going to do it with him, and I'm going to teach him to go up under. Just watch that for a sec. You want to come in? Brito heel. Can you see how he goes under my hand and takes the food out from underneath? Now watch. If I move and he wants that cookie, I'm just going to wait till he goes down because that's a pretty common thing for a dog to do. There. Now if I go backwards and he wants the cookie, he's going to stay under that hand, right? Cookie. Good boy. Well done. Now the same thing without a cookie. He's a little confused because I wouldn't normally have a cookie in the hand anymore. There's no cookie in the hand, but the position stays the same, right? So he can go up, he can go sideways, he can pivot on a circle, doesn't matter. As long as he stays under the hand, good, in, he's going to be straight, right? Good. There's nothing there. Ready? Good. Now, you can choose to shape it or lure it. Right there, I'm luring it. To start with, how do you get the dog into your hand? Well, I'm going to show you something. If I have a cookie in my hand, and if the dog wants it, come here, I'm going to try to prevent him from getting that. He has two choices if he wants the cookie. He can come to the front. I'm not going to let him go that way, or he can go, where's the cookie? Not going to let him go. He can go to the back. If you use your hand, good boy, as a block, as a physical block, the dog has no choice but to come this way or this way, and that's why it works. Because the dog can't turn their head around your hand. Now, as long as you have a cookie, so I'm going to show you something. Look, I can put him in front of me too. It's the same thing, right? And I can do the other hand. I can just rotate him around my hand. Did you see how I rotated him? If he wants the cookie, he's chasing it, chasing it, chasing it, chasing it, chasing it, cookie. It's up to me when I let it go. Chase, 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 cookie. I'm purposefully exaggerating. If I wanted him on this side, turn the hand, rotate it, cookie. Bring it down. When the dog has that, he's small, so it's actually a little harder. When the dog has that, you do exactly the same thing. They chase your hand with no cookie. Brito, chase, 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 chase. Cookie. Here's the cookie. Okay. steps if you're going to do it that way. Where are you? Good boy. Want to come here? Okay. Or you can take a break. I don't care. I just don't want you abandoned. The steps are cookie in the hand. Get the position you want. Oh, let me show you with a big dog too, since most people have a big dog. Burrito, let's go in your house. Burrito, in your house. Good. Stay. Lyra. Some more pumpkin. All right. So we're going to pretend like she's not trained. We're going to start with a cookie in the hand underneath. She wants it. Chase it, chase it, chase it, chase it, chase it. Let it go. If the dog gets to the cookie, you always give them the cookie. Hand at my waist, hand across. You want it? Get it, get it, get it. Notice that she has no choice because my hand is turned. And then as soon as she gets where I want her, I open up my hand. Good girl. Do you see how I'm turning my hand? Cookie. Good. Notice how straight I put her head. I get her head nice and nice high. I can go any direction, right? I can go backwards. That's hard because she's in a sit, but she'll figure it out. Good girl. Forward. Pivots. Sideways. Doesn't matter, right? I can do what I want. That's just a lure. Cookie. Now we're going to do it without it. That's shaping. The first time. Up, up. Click. Bring the cookie across. And she goes, oh, now this has moved from a lure to a target. So now we're going to use it as a target. In. You see how she stays under that hand? There she. See, her nose stays in the pocket. That's why it's called a pocket cookie. Well done, you. Well done, you. Huh? Good job. So you start with the cookie in the hand, and it's a lure. As soon as the dog knows that, you take the cookie out of the hand, and now it's a target. Now I'm going to show you how to get the hand out of position. Good. So I can set her up forever with that. Now my hand at my waist. In. Good. Just a tiny little movement. Up. You also have the option of adding the verbal first. So hand at my waist. I'm going to cue her with in. I'm going to move. If she doesn't move instantly, I'm going to use my hand. In. But she did move. But if she hadn't, that's the option. If you want to switch something to a verbal cue, first you do the known behavior, so that would be target, then you add the verbal cue. Stay. When you think the dog has a clue, did I do that wrong? I said it wrong. First you add the verbal, in her case, and then you add the hand signal target if needed. If it's not needed, you don't have to do it. So in, and she just goes. But if I didn't like the picture, or I thought she wasn't doing very well, there, right there, did you see that? She didn't come with me instantly when I pulled sideways, so we'll do that one again. So I helped her out a little bit. Okay, ready? In. That time she did it. She does have vocabulary, so I can say things like, good girl, in and up. Now I'll show you with a little dog. Mwah! Well done. Let's go outside. Good girl. Outside. Stay. All right, little burrito. Now with a small dog, you have advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is your pocket hand actually never has to completely go away because your hand can be at your side when you heel. So there's no cookie in my hand. Do you see how he has a target here? Hurry. Good. So he can stay under that target kind of no matter what. Up. However, I don't like to hold my hand like that, so I will teach him this. In. Good. Hurry. In. Good. Up. Good. Cookie. Okay, take a break. He sneezes a lot when he looks up, so that's kind of an endless issue for us when we first start working, is that he's going to sneeze. So we have cookie in the hand, cookie. Then we take the cookie out of the hand. When I start, I usually put my hand right on the dog's face. So for example, burrito. Good. Hand on his face, move in, there's a cookie in the hand. Now, hand on his face, move in, there's no cookie in the hand. Cookie. Hand above his head, move in, reward. Hand at my waist, add a verbal. Let's go. Good. Touch. I add a touch because I want his head high all the time. Okay. Actually, usually I have him jump, but in the house it's a little awkward because of the floor. So normally it would be, let's go, touch. And then I would give him his cookie. Good. Now, right now I'm teaching Brito to go in front of me, right? So what I'm going to do is the same. I want him that way facing away. So, okay, there's a lure. I just want him to stay there. Good. So as long as he stays there, he gets cookies. Cookie. Okay. And bring him back. And we're going to do it again. Over time, my hand's going to go higher. Good. That's all right. It's harder here because there's no pocket. So all he has is my hand mechanics. So maybe, okay, I would be wise, okay, to use 2 hands. All right, so let's try 2 hands. Ready? Okay. So now, that's much better for him. Can you see how he's using both hands? I taught him that. But he's using both hands to center himself. Let's come from the other side. Brito, side. Good. Cookie. Okay. Good. Stay. Okay. Good boy. That's hard for him because he wants to back up between my legs because that's something he knows how to do. Anywhere I put him, I can position his body. So if I want to go sideways across this way, I can go sideways that way just by going like that. Okay. I can go sideways that way. Okay. It doesn't matter. I can put him behind me. This is going to be hard. I've never done anything remotely like that. Come here. So he's flat against the back of me. As long as he understands to keep, okay. As long as he understands, hold on, that I want him to put the side of his head against my hand, or against my other hand, or against both hands. If both hands are out like this, he should go forward into that space. Huh. All right, let me see if that'll do it for you. Hopefully it will. Let me check and see if you have questions. All right, little dog, why don't I put you in your house? You are a good little demo dog. Were you a good little demo dog? Were you a good little demo dog? You were. Okay, here's a cookie. Let's go in your house. Go in your house. Good boy. That's a boy. All right, you got questions? Go ahead and ask me. All right, let's see. Wow, you guys got it. Or are you just being really quiet about it? Brito is the cutest and he is very talented. All right, starting an overzealous, powerful dog who's desperate to get the cookie. Okay, Catherine, that's a great question. So there's a few things you need to know. If the dog gets to the cookie, they always get the cookie, right? It's up to you to rotate your hand so that the dog is chasing it. If the dog manages to get there, never withhold no matter what the body's doing. I don't care how wrong the dog is. Let me bring Lyra in and try something she's never done to make that more clear. All right, so I'm going to start Lyra like a baby who's not going to cooperate. Yeah. Go. All right, so that she knows pretty well, right? She knows how to go there. But I've never put her in front of me the way I did with Brito, so let's see what she does. Cookie. Oh, actually that went pretty well. She chased. I always open up my hand, so never withhold the cookie. If you don't like what you're getting, let's try this. Cookie. If you don't like what you're getting, let's see, I want more rotation. She's just going to do it. Come here. See? There's your freestyle dog. Huh, that's pretty cool. She's never done that. You want to do it again? Come here, just because that was kind of fun. Come on. There. As long as she gets to the cookie, good job. That's a good girl. As long as she gets to it, she gets the cookie. The mistake people make is they withhold the cookie if the dog doesn't do what they want. Don't withhold it. If the dog gets to the lure, they get the lure every time. And really up your rate of reinforcement. That's the biggest deal. You're welcome, Jessica. Yeah, Burrito is amazing. Isn't he cute? Get my glasses back. Good girl, Lyra. You can stay here. All right. What is the sneezing? It depends on the dog. In his case, it's super, super correlated with looking up. So if he looks up and pivots, he's going to do it every single time. He does it on the left. He does it on the right. It's worse outdoors in the sun. So I think it's because of the liquid in his mouth rolling back up into his nose. All right, what do you do? Oh, gotta open this up for you, Linda. What do you do when the dog turns their long nose and or neck in but does not follow? That's great. Yeah, you can shape it. You're going to run into the same problem. So I was actually thinking Lyra would do that because that's her. So what Linda means is if you turn your hand, some dogs with their pointy noses go around. So notice this. Notice what I can do with the height. The higher your hand, the less the dog can do that because they have no leverage. Lyra, watch. Look how high her head is. Cookie. Good. I'm going to put her in front of me. Okay. Now notice, she can't bend her head around. If her head is flat, see how she can do that? Now watch. Same thing, but I'm going to raise my hand a lot. She has no choice. She has to move. So now it comes down to how much leverage the dog has. The higher you have the dog's head, the more leverage you have. Good. She's like, well, what do you want? I'm not going to give you that one. You have to follow the lure. Good girl. Good. Good. She's also taught to keep her head there. So if I go like this, she really should keep her head up. But the trick is how high can you get that head? If you can get that head super high, you're in good shape. And while I'm here, come. If you want a straight finish, around. If you catch the dog right here, did I not get it? Good girl. Most dogs will come in straight. She didn't. That's on me though. So what would I do? I would actually go the other way. So I'll show you. Since you're being so cooperative, Lyra, come, 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 come. Good. Ready? Around. That's because we've been working on that. Come. Around. Around. Good. Head up. She should be straight. If I position my hand right, she should be straight. Cookie. Okay, good girl. Come here. Okay, let's see if I missed any questions. So Linda, just bring your hand up higher. I think you'll find it goes away. I was late. Any way to rewind? Yeah, Kathy, just when it's done, this should show up and stay on my page, so you can just watch it anytime. It'll be on there. Okay, on average, how long do you use pocket hand when teaching heeling? Weeks, months? Kim, it takes me a few days to teach the dog to chase the lure with the cookie in the hand, and I want them light. And when I say light, I mean that just my hand moving so gently way up in the air should just be moving the dog. If not, they're not ready. Okay, so once I have that, get the food out of your hand super, super fast. Because in general, if cookies are in the hand, the dog follows the cookies and doesn't think. So once the cookie is out of the hand, now you're shaping instead of luring. And I'm teaching that at the same time I'm actually teaching the positions, the movement, because that's how I teach it. I will go back to pocket hand anytime I need for the life of the dog to reinforce. Because it's the same as I'm using it like a pivot disc, right? It's the same as using a platform or a pivot disc. It's just that I can do it on the spot. So what I was just doing there with the finishes, if I was drilling my dog on finishes because she was struggling and I was going to do 10 of those in a row, then I would catch her on every single one. It's exactly the same as putting a platform on the ground to structure the dog. It's just that I have my hand. And at any time I can decide at the last minute she needs help because I don't want my dogs to be wrong. I find it's useless to have your dog be wrong and then fix. So as soon as I see that the position isn't going to be what I want, I'm going to help before they're wrong. So how long do I use it? For the life of the dog. How long before my dog can do impressively nice heeling with all sorts of things? My own dog's weeks. When I run the class, it's now self-study. So the class called Precision Heeling, it's a 6-week-long class. And I start people on the disc. So I would say after 6 weeks, most people can do a left pivot, a right pivot, a couple steps in each direction, including backwards, without a cookie in the hand and without touching their dog on the head, so over the dog's head. But to get fluency where the dog can move at different speeds and do all kinds of stuff takes months. I mean, honestly, it takes years to get really, really strong, beautiful heeling under all circumstances. So I would say a few weeks to have the cookie out of the hand and have the dog moving nicely. I would suggest or caution that the biggest mistake I see people doing is leaving the food in the hand way too long, and every time they try to get rid of it, the dog just literally leaves. They have no clue what they're doing. So like any good luring, you lure, you get the lure out of the hand, you name it, right? Get in, get up, let's go, whatever you want to call it. And then you name, give the signal. Name, give the signal. So if I get to a left turn and my dog is struggling, I will say, get in, and if the dog doesn't instantly respond to that, I give the hand signal. The hand signal will correlate with my body making that turn. Eventually, hopefully the dog will either do it on get in or just on the body language. And because in healing we don't cue it, I expect my dog, when I get to the corner and they just feel the slightest little tiniest look that way, I need the dog to mentally say, get in. If it doesn't happen, I will verbally say it, I will add the hand signal, and I will cause it to happen. All right. I have a dog who's dropping his head as soon as he realizes there is no cookie. Did I transition too soon? No, you probably transitioned too late. It's a shaping exercise. So you can always stand still. Is there anything for you? You can always stand still and just work on offering the hand with no cookie in it. Dog touches the hand, click, food comes from a different place. The longer you lure, the worse that problem is going to be. I know that's a little counterintuitive, but you want to shape as fast as you can. So the other thing you can do is one step, hand touch, reward. One step, hand touch, reward. In Burrito's case, because he's small and looking up is hard for him, I almost always reinforce with a hand touch, almost always. So I take a few steps, I offer a hand touch, I tell him to touch, he jumps up, I click, I reward. Not a big deal with Lyra, because she's a big dog and that's less of an issue. Okay. I'm working from a wheelchair where my legs aren't right at the edge. I also have have armrests. So I assume that I'd have to just work it as a target since I don't have anything to make a pocket with. Well, let me sit in the chair and try to figure this out. Okay. We're going to learn something new today. Now, this is going to be fun. All right, let's see. So you got a service dog, so I'm going to assume it's a Lyra-sized dog. So, let's see what I can do here. First, we're going to give her one for free because I've never done anything like this. There we go. All right, sorry, Lyra. Can you get your butt in? Okay, it's going to be, actually, pretty much the same. See, sideways. Hey, and you know what? This rolling chair is not a bad deal, except my other concern is running over her. I don't want you to run over your dog. So you're going to do it. Remember how I was talking about how in front I can't make the pocket, but I can use my wrist as a pivot point. Watch how I can use my wrist to block her. Can you see that? So she has to come around? Good, but this dog is like bendy, so she's actually pretty challenging. So what you're going to do, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. Your dog will just be a little further out, but that seems reasonable to me. Okay. I mean, assuming your hands and arms work all right. Oh, you're welcome, Ashley. How exactly are you holding the cookie in your hand? Can you show it? Yeah, I'll show you a couple of options. Sure. All right, you have choices. When I taught the class and when I made the videos, in most of the older videos, I had the cookies in these two hands. Let me think about this. And I would rotate. Okay. It's hard to show you because of the camera. It's under my thumb. Can you see that? But now I am more likely to put it almost here, down. Stay like that. And when I release it, I just open the hand. Okay. Notice I'm putting it on the outside of her head, on the left side of her head. That's no accident. Cookie, right there. Just drop it. Just literally drop it. That also is what you do for dogs that are hard on their mouth, sharky dogs, because as long as you're putting it in the side here, and dropping it, they'll never bite you. Doesn't matter how rough the dog is. They can't because the front of their teeth never come up to your hands because it's going in the side. So look, you got a freebie. Hi, David. Will pocket hand also work with dogs who are touch pressure sensitive? Or how will you know if the cookie is just masking if they're feeling stressed? Well, actually, it works best with dogs that are pressure sensitive. Don't get into trouble. Because they move away from your hand, so you don't even have to touch them. How would you know if it's masking? That's the same as for Kimberly, for any training exercise where you're using food. So anything that would apply, anything you do otherwise, whether it's engagement or start button behaviors, all of those things always apply to all training. It's no different. If you have concerns that the dog's super sensitive and fragile, and their love of food is so great that it will overwhelm and mask their best interest, like a really fragile dog, then shape it. Don't put food in the... I mean, shaping is not hard. All you'd have to do is teach the dog side of the head, click, reward that. Side of the head. You never have to put food in your hand at all. I actually did a class. It's a self-study class where I taught both my dogs to heel on the right-hand side, and I shaped it 100%. I never put food in the hand because some people have asked me about that. So if you're interested and you got 60, 50 bucks, go ahead and buy it. And you can see all of these beginning steps with the other side where it was all 100% shaping. You can see how I shaped it. But you can shape it for sure. All right, I have a really nice heel position, but I've struggled with the pocket hand lesson as I think I can add more. Oh, okay, all right, great, all right. So you're getting it. All right, y'all good? Yeah, you can, with a golden, you can easily do the rest. Depending on the shape of the dog's head, I do tweak things a little bit. The bigger and fatter the head, the higher my hand and the harder I'm gonna have to hold my hand to really crank my hand. Because like a lab, they push your hand out to the side. So you have to really hold your hand tight and only rotate at the wrist. Don't let the dog push your hand out, because if they do, what you'll notice, if you try this and you notice that your dog ends up wide, that tells me you let your hand go away from your body. Remember, you're trying to make a pocket in close. If you try this and you find your dog ahead of you, that tells me you let your dog go too far ahead. It's physically impossible for the dog, if your hand is in correct position, to end up wide or to end up ahead of you. It just can't happen because the dog would be where the food is. Or they're not eating the food. That's a different matter. How do you deal with a dog who will shove her entire mouth over your hand? Honestly, I'd probably just ignore it. Like a pit bull type dog. Yeah, they do that. But they don't bite you, like they just spit all over you. The hardest problem with that is that they spit so much the food falls out. I just ignore it and then work on just putting cookie. I'll show you, hold on. You want more? All right. So here's let's call her my fathead dog who's swallowing my hand. Instead of working on pocket hand, just put your cookie in the hand, get that cookie in her mouth. Put the cookie in the hand, get the cookie in her mouth. Just feed and feed and feed. Now take a step forward and feed. Take a step backwards. Much easier to go backwards if the dog is standing. Good girl. Get that rhythm going so the dog knows they're going to get the food, and then when they're already just relaxed and eating and eating and eating, and ideally on their feet, boom, twist your body, keep your hand by your side, let your wrist rotate maybe, or stay still, and watch what happens. I think you'll fool the dog into moving a few times, and then you're going to be good. All right, my dog is generally fairly interested in food, but when training, she is very easily distracted by anything and everything else. Have tried different types of bait, train in low distraction environments. So I always teach, usually like in my house or possibly my own training yard, so there shouldn't be any distractions. And shorten up your sessions because she might just be kind of mentally young or really young, I don't know. Any tips for toy poodles? Go back and watch the beginning because I did burrito, so it's the same size. Might help you. Short terrier, same thing. Go back when this is over and watch the beginning because I used burrito as an example. I can do more with burrito if there's something you want to see. But he's small, so you'll get the idea. All right, dog is great in practice. Won't do anything once we are in the show pen. Tips, my 11-year-old dog. That's a huge, huge, huge question. And I could definitely take it up as another Facebook Live, but getting the skills in your house has really very little in common with getting them in the ring, and that's just this huge process of moving to competition. So the quick, easy answer is practice in lots and lots of places, And in your house, your dog should be able to work fairly well without food and should understand that the food is somewhere else and is going to come later. Yeah, I don't think so. She's eyeing my food. The pocket is between the hand and my body. All this time I thought it was pocket hand because the food was pocketed in the hand. No, it's pocket hand because it's the pocket made with your hand and your body. But yeah, the food is pocketed in your hand. Good. Are you good? You guys got it? Any last questions? Did you have fun, Lyra? I don't usually use Lyra for demonstrations because she's not very food driven. And so you can do pocket hand with a toy too. If you're going to do it with a toy, what you do, you shape the dog to touch the head to the hand, right? And when they touch, you click and drop the toy or throw the toy or play tug or whatever you like to do. And that's usually how I train Lyra. I don't do much with food because she's not cooperative about it. But I had good food, so apparently she was willing to go along. How long do you use it? When bending with a little dog, as little as possible. That's why. But Rachel, remember that with a little dog, they can just look up into the hand. You don't really have to bend. So like with Burrito, I'll show you how I do pocket hand with him just because some people missed it. Lyra, let's go outside. Good girl, out you go. Good where you stay. Come here. Come on, Burrito. Oh, no, Burrito. All right. Now, if you think about it, he is going to look up into the pocket, right? So I don't need to bend. I can do that if I want to, but lately it's touch. I let him do way more of the work because I don't like working that hard. Good. Get in. Get in. Good boy. Touch. I should give the verbal before the hand signal. Rachel. Good. Touch. The other nice thing about doing that is it gets the dog's weight, gets the dog's weight to the back, and you get a more upright heel position. Burrito. Ready? Let's go. Touch. Good. I don't like to do that in here because of the floor, so I'm kind of limited. That might help, but I don't bend that much at all. And you might also consider doing a lot more with a small dog on a disc because it's all that much less bending. All right, y'all good? All right. That's fun. It's the first time I've done one on this page. Usually I do Facebook Lives on my own page. All right, if you have some more questions that are specific to pocket hand, and if I can catch them quickly, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll look at them in the next couple hours. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.